Warm greetings from the high tent. It's Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me. I guess most of you have heard the news pertaining to Jussie Smollett. He has been found guilty of the said 5 counts, and I will play you that audio. Sorry, I had to log off earlier because it was just too windy for me to continue. But I will finish the said information, plus the other 2 commentaries pertaining to Megan Boswell and Cynthia Cole, a woman who resided in Florida and found inside of a septic tank on her own property. It is believed that she was possibly alive when put into that septic tank. I'm going to bring you the said information. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. God bless all of you. Thank you for joining me. Happy weekend to all of you. God is good. Amen. Thank you. This is the judge giving the rendering to Jussie Smollett. CBS is the source.
What you've done to yourself is way beyond anything else that can happen to you from me or any other judge that would be sentencing you in this criminal case. You are now a permanently convicted felon. Your family, who loves you and supports you, I only want to use the word forgive because forgiveness isn't even necessary. They're with you so much. They're so tight-knit. But you have to live with the fact that you really put them through a ringer. Mm-hmm. You've embarrassed your valuable friends in high places, elected public officials, people in the media. You've embarrassed them. You have to live with that. I don't know if those relationships can be repaired. You've become toxic in your own workplace. Your career future is uncertain at very best. It was really on a rocket ship to success, and now you've turned yourself into riches to rags, and it's so unfortunate. Your very name has become an adverb for lying. And I cannot imagine what could be worse than that.
Exactly. Say that, Judge.
Talk about situations where somebody's lying and trying to manipulate and maneuver a story, and your name comes up. So pulling a Jussie, something like that. That's awful. You're the butt of jokes. Comedians, mainstream talk show hosts, they make jokes about you. They do sketches about you. I can't imagine anything worse than that. No, this is all self-inflicted. These are things you did to yourself.
Yes, say that.
This is self-damage.
How do you turn passion into a business?
Oops, sorry about that. Didn't know they were going to play any commercials. Sorry about that.
Well, some people may think that what you did is funny, and that there's some room for humor or jokes about it. But I assure you this court does not. I don't think there is anything funny at all about hoaxing and faking racial hate crimes, hoaxing or faking homophobic hate crimes. I think that is disgraceful. There is nothing funny about it. There's no humor in what you did whatsoever. All because you're selfish, arrogant, narcissistic. At least you have that side in you that came out through this case, and you kept doubling down and doubling down and doubling down. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. And I'm your sentencing judge, and I don't find it funny. So where are we at? We're at the end. You're convicted of a Class 4 felony. It's presumptively probationable, but we have some real serious aggravating factors here. Your premeditation, which I've described. The pain you caused to real victims of hate crimes, which I have described. The damage you've done to the city of Chicago, I've heard. It's been talked about. I'm mindful of the city's request for restitution. If I'm going to fashion that, consider that request, I have to fashion the sentence accordingly. And above all, the capper of all cappers, your performance on the witness stand. This could only be described as pure perjury. You got on the witness stand. You didn't have to. You did. You certainly have a right to. But you committed hour upon hour upon hour of pure perjury.
Yes, say that.
I find all those to be ample factors. If this court were to decide that the things you did, that any kind of probationary sentence would deprecate the seriousness of the offense and you need to go to the penitentiary, the record is clear and it would support it. But I'm looking at everything in its totality. And I agree. It's told to me today, you can't judge everybody by one bad thing they've done in their life. I don't know if it's the only bad thing, but it's the only bad thing that I'm concerned about now.
Right, exactly.
And that you do have quite a record of real community service and quite a record of attaching with people. There is a lot of mitigation in this case as well. And I'm mindful of the pleas of mercy, particularly from people that are in the arena of dealing with social justice issues, that are fighting, seriously fighting, not playing around, not doing games like you were doing, but seriously fighting for matters involving hate crimes of all sorts. And they're asking you for mercy as well. So I'm trying to consider who you are as a person, how you got here, how somehow you strayed away from your family values. You let that dark, narcissistic, selfish, and arrogant side come out. And you persisted with it for years on this case. I'm fashioning the following sentence. And here's your sentence. I'm sentencing you to 30 months felony probation, and the probation is going to be to this court. You're going to be allowed to travel wherever you want. You do not have to live in the state of Illinois. You can report by phone. I know that if you're going to try to make a living and do some of the things you do, you may have to go to other places in New York and Los Angeles. You can do those things. You will pay restitution to the city of Chicago.
Yes, yes.
$120,106. You are fined $25,000.
Yes.
Which is the maximum fine.
Yes.
And you will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail.
Yes.
And that will start today.
Yes.
Right here, right now.
Go ahead, Judge.
Mr. Smollett. So the jury found you guilty.
Amen.
As I have, you have the right to appeal the findings and rulings of the court, or ask your sentence to be modified. To do those things, you need to file a notice of appeal in writing within 30 days. You may also file a motion to modify your sentence, which may have to be filed in writing within 30 days. Anything not stated in those filings are waived for purposes of appeal. You cannot afford lawyers or transcripts. They would be provided free of charge. Do you have any questions?
No, I would just like to say, Your Honor, that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say. I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years, and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you, and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay. Mr. Boucher, let me inquire, are there any post-sentencing motions you care to present right now?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Ms. Booth.
The defense would wish to present a motion to reconsider sentence and file it in standard.
It is timely filed.
Thank you, Judge.
And let me say, I've obviously considered the sentence at great length.
Thank you.
And it's timely filed, so it's preserved for purposes of appeal. Motion to reconsider sentence is respectfully denied.
Amen.
And is there another, one second, Randy. Anything else? Just a second. Is there going to be a notice of appeal filed?
Yes, Judge, we're filing a notice of appeal. We're going to be emailing it to the clerk right now, to the office.
You're doing it in standard, and are you going to be handling the appeal?
Judge, as of now, yes.
Well, you have to commit to
Yes,
the
Judge,
appeal.
yes, we're filing a motion.
All right, those appeal may be filed. Charlotte, and now I need the prosecutors to work with Charlotte, the probation officer, to work out probation specifications with the conditions I've just explained. 150 days in the county jail, restitution fines, and also as well. That's statutory. So you have to fill out probation specifications. And I'm going to get somebody to help you do that. But we need to get that done in standard. Anything else? Yeah.
In light of the notice of appeal, we would ask that you suspend the jail sentence in light of the instance of filing of the notice of appeal.
No.
What?
Suspend the jail sentence in light of the notice of filing of appeal.
That will be respectfully denied. Yes,
He
Mark.
just denied that. Damn. That's so disrespectful.
No, I'm not saying, no. The wheels of justice turn slowly. Sometimes the hammer of justice has to fall, and it's falling right here, right now. I'm not saying this. This happens right here, right
Unbelievable.
now. Charlotte?
Wow. They are both.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it. I'll give you this. Okay. All right. Any other matters that come before the court today? All right. Defendants remanded to the custody sheriff. Court is adjourned.
I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal, and I'm innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
Jussie Smollett has ended this drama he created with
Yes,
an exclamation
exactly.
point. But Judge James Lynn has the final word.
James Lynn.
He said
Remember that name.
The hammer of justice
Amen.
falls, and it fell hard today on
Yes.
Jussie Smollett. 30 months felony probation, 120 grand plus owed to the city of Chicago, 25 grand. That's the max paid in fines, and 150 days in jail beginning tonight.
People helping people.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. That's CBS. Wow. Let me post this again to the to my page for those that want to verify the said information. 1 second, please. Amazing. One second, you guys. Can you speak? Okay, hold on. All right, everybody. This is one of the mods going to give their commentary. Let me first say, amen to the judge. Judge Lynn, thank you. You showed the world, no matter what your race is, that you cannot orchestrate a hoax and think you're going to get away with it, waste detectives' time, the city's time, overtime. There are real people out here that are sick, real people who have been hurt, assaulted, whether they are black, white, Jew, gay, bisexual, transgender, whatever their situation is. It doesn't really matter. The point is, you were caught. The people admitted it. The people who helped him admitted it. And that's what people need to understand, is that the brothers never had to admit that they went along with this plan, that they were hired. They could have lied. See, that's what people need to understand. The brothers could have lied and said, I don't know what you're talking about. So what? You saw me go in the store and buy a hat or this or that. What's your point? I don't know what you're talking about. Because see, the fact that he acted like nobody had done anything, they could have went along with it. But they probably were caught off guard when approached by the detectives with what they saw and seeing them on the camera at different places, going in the stores, purchasing things. Perhaps they were not United States citizens at the time. Maybe they were on visiting visas. I don't know, because I do know that they are African descent. So perhaps they weren't even supposed to be in the country a long period of time. I don't know. But the point is, they didn't have to concur. They could have easily denied all allegations and put this to bed. But perhaps they were fearful. And that fear served them right, because it brought the truth out about Jussie Smollett. People don't know him. I'm very disappointed with the Black Lives Movement representative who spoke up on his behalf. You don't know Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett is the motherfucker that would cut your throat in front of your face. He ain't the type to stab you in the back. As far as the Chicago Innocence Project, you were wrong for upholding him. You should represent somebody who's been wrongfully accused. That's your damn job. So you made a mockery of your organization. Alfre Woodard, I'm very disappointed in you. Samuel L. Jackson, your wife as well. I'm disappointed in you all. The evidence was shown that he's guilty. He orchestrated this, writing fake letters to the head honchos of the studio to get attention. That didn't work. Boom. I'll try something else. I'll try something else. He has made a mockery of anybody breathing, not just black people, gay people, anybody with a pulse. Anybody with a pulse. You are hideous to me. And you would lie tomorrow. Anybody cross you, you would lie on them, manipulate, get them fired from their job. That's Jussie Smollett. And the fact that his family upheld him, you're crazy too. Grandma 92, she got game, okay? She came into court jiggy, talking about, you can throw me in jail with him. Well, go on in there. Well, put your ass in there. Then she told the investigators, y'all know how to do y'all job, investigative reporters. Excuse us? The reporters don't know how to do their job. I think they did a damn good job. They showed he's a liar. The detectives showed he's a liar. And the judge said he's a liar. 12 members of the jury said he's a liar. Go ahead and talk, Chris. I'm hot butter, girl.
No, oh my goodness. I am speechless the whole case. I cannot believe it. And how they just...
Pecan said he'd have had innocent people thrown in jail, never said a word. Exactly. Exactly.
That was him leaving, yelling?
Yes.
That last part.
I ain't suicidal. They didn't ask you, was you suicidal? I didn't never hear the judge ask you, was you suicidal? So what are you trying to tell people? And let me talk about that for just a second. He mentioned that in case he decides to kill himself, and then his family will be the one suing the city of Chicago for murder. They'll swear somebody murdered his punk ass up and now. Ain't nobody would have murdered you, but you killed yourself.
He said, yeah.
And excuse my language for using the word punk. What I mean to say, he's a coward.
Yeah.
He's a coward. That has nothing to do with him being homosexual. He's a coward because that's a cowardly move to say that in court. If something happens to me in here, no, I didn't kill myself. No, you thinking about killing yourself because you know you fucked up. You know the judge told you the truth. You messed up your career on your own. You did this to yourself. Nobody did this to you. Nobody came looking for you, found you. Nobody put a noose around your neck. Nobody beat you up, hit you. You disgraced yourself. You disgraced that damn African brother by implicating that he's a homosexual. Maybe he is gay. Maybe he didn't want nobody to know he's gay. But you outed him about being in a bathhouse. And somebody said, oh yeah, I saw him in here. We don't know what's the truth. Because people will lie, especially when it comes to famous people. But the point is, you were wrong. You set them boys up, you paid them, and then when the shit got out, you folded. And then you went to court 2 years later, almost 2 years later, and you threw one of them under the bus and make it seem like he's a homosexual. That's Jussie Smollett. He's a dog. And that woman testifying about how he was at 16, 20-something years ago, lady. Jussie Smollett has metamorphosed into a fucking clown. You don't know Jussie Smollett. Just like the judge told him, you volunteering for all these organizations and doing stuff. We don't know who you are. He said, I don't even know what you're doing, if it's for real or not. Valid point. He doing it for show. Like some of the shit you see up here on YouTube, it's the same damn thing. Clout chasing, want to be seen, want to be heard, want to be validated because I'm not important. Don't nobody really like me. I'm insecure. Look at me. I can fly. Well, you and R. Kelly, fly your asses on together. Exactly. This is not a movie. This is real life. Go ahead, Crystal.
Yeah, through this whole ordeal and just that right there, does he think he's making a movie or something? What is he? You could tell, like, through the whole thing, he's just like he's acting. Mm-hmm. He really has mental issues. And for those other organizations and stuff, we've said the Black Lives Matter and
the Innocence Project.
That is sad.
That's very sad.
They have just
no idea what they've done.
Yes, they have disrespected the whole. I mean, that's unreal. That's unreal. I just cannot believe that they did that.
Yeah.
And knowing all the evidence, everything, I can understand that there was not as much evidence, you know what I mean? But it was just so much piled on. You still stood there. They have no idea. They have just ruined it. Not just for him, and plus he ruined it himself, but for other people that really need their services, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
They've ruined it. Years of fighting and stuff, they have ruined it.
But that judge said it though. Then he said, "You just did this on and on and on. You ruined your own career, rags to riches. What were you thinking? All because you're narcissistic." He put it down. The judge gave him the goods. You hear me?
Yeah.
He gave him the goods today, baby.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that you kept up with this because I totally forgot about all this stuff.
Well, that let you know, because that's what happens with these crimes. You have shit happen every day in America. You can't keep up with everybody. Pookie, Ray Ray, R. Kelly, Weinstein, Onstein. Hell, can't nobody keep up. Shit, gas is almost $20. Give a damn about no damn R. Kelly. Look, what the hell we talking about today? Tired of talking about these fools. Shit, come pay the water, gas, light bills down here for me. Shit.
And they just really, oh my goodness. I just can't believe that their whole demeanor is
Let me calm down. I was hyped up driving. I almost wrecked my car trying to get to this live tonight. Damn. I said, let me hurry and get hoes like go live. This son of a bitch. I am not suicidal. Wait a minute. I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal. I thought, what? Don't hang yourself up in there. With your dumb ass. Just hang your damn self.
I'm innocent. Okay.
A damn fool. Because he might kill himself. That's why he's saying it, see. That would be the greatest hoax. He kills himself and his family sues the city of Chicago. Think about it. They said the greatest hoax ever known to man was the devil tried to make people believe he did not exist. Stay woke. That boy will go in that jail and kill himself, and his family will blame some innocent person in that damn jail. Listen to what I'm saying to you now. That's why he's saying it. Because he might decide to kill himself.
Freaking crybaby. God, 5 months. He got 5 months?
Mm-hmm. 5 months. $120,000 owed to the city of Chicago. $25,000 in fines. 30 months probation. He can roam the universe as he sees fit. I think the judge was nice enough to not to let you be bound by the city of Chicago.
Yeah. That
State of Illinois. He could have told you got to stay in Illinois.
He let him off easy. He really did.
Yeah, crime said the same thing. He got off easy. Yes, he did. He should have got the whole 3 years.
Sure should have. Yes, because he has really. Oh my God, he's really. The judge gave it to him.
He gave him the goods. He told him about himself. He didn't just give him his sentence. He let him know you fucked yourself on this. You did this to yourself. Nobody did this to you. You were the star of a whole series, and that wasn't good enough. Exactly. There are people that wish they had a role on Empire or any other TV show. You're making millions of dollars a year and you crying.
Right.
You've paid all this money to your lawyers and that damn bodyguards you're paying all of that damn money. They go your money right there to the damn city. You could have paid restitution 2 years ago. Paid the city the money for the, detective work.
What a disgrace.
He's a disgrace. He is a disgrace. And let me tell you what's gonna happen. If his ass live long enough, he gonna come out that jail. He gonna start smoking crack and doing heroin And next thing you know, you're here that he walking around in a damn tutu prostitute. Just wait till I tell you. Huh?
Oh, wait. Golly. And that's something. 5 months, and then he'll probably get out good time for that.
No, baby, he ain't getting off no, you ain't, he's supposed to do 3 years, Crystal. How you gonna get out for 5 months?
He gonna do like 4 months.
No.
He gonna have good time.
Listen what I said. You gonna do all 150. And then so his lawyers were so disrespectful. The judge just sat there and told you this is the sentence. You steady gonna say, could you please let him out? For what? He said, I told you I thought about it already. I thought about it long and hard.
Right.
They had like the judge was an alternate judge who just stepped in today.
Yeah. That was disrespectful.
Very disrespectful. Then the stupid ass lawyer, she talked crazy to him. You didn't let us ask no questions and this, that, and the other. Then he quit back earlier. He said, excuse me, I didn't let you ask no questions. But he said, I didn't ask the right questions. Yeah, she told him he didn't ask the right questions. And he said, well, what am I supposed to ask him about? He said something about being an animal and all that. Girl, I about fell out. I said, this judge, he gonna get crunk when he get out of there. Did you hear me? Where the judge at? He downtown at a bar getting drunk. That's where he at. Yes, Pecan, you're right. The lawyers made themselves look awful. Yes.
Sure
They were
did.
disrespectful to the judge.
Wow.
And that black girl, he had already answered her question about the sentencing. Because she asked about appealing and all this old kind of stuff. Reconsider it. He told her no. And then she still reworded it again. And he said, didn't I just tell you no?
Yeah.
Not going to reconsider nothing. Right. 5 months ain't enough.
I mean, nothing.
Jussie Smollett, would you like to say anything? Anybody, notice what he said. Anybody else got anything they want to say? Anybody? I am not suicidal.
Where the hell did that shit come from?
I am not suicidal. I would have, if I was that judge, I'd have got up and pulled my damn robe off. I said, wait a minute. What the hell? Boy, if you don't sit your black ass down and shut the hell up. I said, bailiff. I said, bailiff, will you get him out of here? For I'll be up in here with a charge.
Right?
Damn. What the hell wrong with him?
Right. Not suicidal.
The judge said it. This is the longest hearing he's ever seen in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Of people talking and battering and cussing and fussing. I ain't never seen nobody have no hearing that long. You would thought Moses and Job then came and spoke before the court. Talking about Jesus coming in a minute. Just hold on. Everybody sit down. Get you a seat, because we got the Nazareth. He coming. Huh? The hell?
Oh. Wow. So they took him straight to court. And that's it.
I did not have sexual relations with that man.
Right? So how does the appeal work?
Appeal what? Why are you going to appeal? He ain't going to be gone but for 5 months.
Yeah.
Damn. It's not even a whole year. He'll be out. We'll still have flowers planted.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pay that money, homeboy. So I don't know why your lawyers think you're going to appeal. You owe the city of Chicago every damn dime. You owe them every damn dime.
Mm-hmm.
The judge did right with the restitution to the city and the fines. You owe that.
Right.
So ain't no need of appealing nothing. You ain't getting ready to be gone long enough to need no fucking appeal.
The appeal gonna take longer than the sentence. Shit.
No, ain't no good behavior. He out tomorrow. He ain't doing but 5 months. Y'all act like he going away for 12 years.
I think too, but because he's supposed to be in the county jail, right?
Crystal.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing the whole 5.
Crystal.
Okay.
5 months. What is 5 months? 5 months versus 3 years. Why would he not do the whole 5 months?
Because they're gonna say, okay, that's good time. Because he's only in the county jail. He's not going to prison.
Okay, so then you can do 5 months standing on your head. All you gotta do is sleep.
Nah, they're gonna, because of COVID. All these COVID protocols.
He gonna be in protective custody. That heifer gonna have a cell all to himself. If they got to put him in a motherfucking pantry or a utility room.
Did you say a pantry?
If they gotta put that fucker in a pantry, a little small ass utility room in a broom closet, your ass, what the hell you gonna be in there?
Oh my God.
I can't even focus on my other stories. He had suicide on his mind, 24-hour watch. I don't care what happens to Jussie Smollett. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know he's a child of God. I'm a child of God. We are all children of God. We are all flawed. What Jussie Smollett did was atrocious. He was a 35-plus-year-old man, or however he was when he did this shit. He was too old for what he did. That's the bottom line. He was not a 13-year-old trying to get attention.
Yeah.
He was fully grown when he did with the shit he did.
Yeah, and he didn't just ruin it for himself.
You brought down a whole fucking TV show. Those people depending on that money for that TV show. You brought that whole TV show down. All because everybody liked your character. They didn't feel like the show could go on without him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He ruined it for a lot of, not just him. Selfish, just like the judge said, selfish.
Yeah, very selfish.
Thinking about yourself.
Honorary. Oh, he honorary, cocky, arrogant, all of that.
Yep. Well, I'm glad he was found guilty, though. I'm glad he was sentenced, but I do feel like he should have been given a lot more. That's a real heinous crime, man.
Because he still got a slap on the wrist, because what you're still telling the public is you can still go lie, make up a crime, and only get a few months in jail.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people still don't get time in jail for perjury. They don't get a long sentence for perjury. I don't think there's too many people that have actually done a lot of jail time for perjury.
Mm-hmm.
You're showing people that you can make a mockery of the court system, the judicial process.
Right.
That's what you're telling the world. I can make up stuff. I can go in the court, swear on the Bible, lie, make up stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's just what he did. Just what he did.
I don't know who came to visit him in jail. He ain't been in no jail for nobody to visit him. Anything else you want to add, ma'am?
No. Nope. Not at all.
Okay. Well,
I guess this is gonna be behind us now. We'll see what happens when he gets out.
don't give a fuck what happens to him. I don't give a damn what happened to Pussycat. I don't give a damn about Puss in Boots.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they all need to come to Jesus moment. And the 92-year-old grandmother, let me talk to your old tail. You got a lot of nerve to be scrolling your old tail up in that jail, in that damn courthouse, acting like you fucking 25 years old. You lucky that you ain't dead and you walking up in there. You investigative reporters need to know how to do your job.
No, she
You
didn't.
throw my grandson in jail, you can throw me in jail. Well, honey, come on, get in there.
Oh my goodness. That was his grandma did that?
92 years old, talking shit in a courtroom. Did you hear me?
This that part. Oh my goodness.
Right, but I respect you, Judge. You're right. That's what he said. None of those people respected the judge. Not his brother, his lawyers, his grandmother. All of them were very disrespectful to the court and to the judge today. That's why Jussie Smollett is cut from them folks that was in that courtroom today. They all got the same narcissistic behavior, attitude. She 92 years old. You know how them old people like that honoring that they got that from that heifer. Let me tell you, investigative reporters, you don't know how to do your job. Oh, okay. This is what I would have told her. Well, guess what? I ain't going to jail today either.
Right.
I ain't got a chance to go to jail. And I bet you they all sat there and thought, maybe we shouldn't have said what we said in court today. Yes, the nerve of the attorney asking for a suspended sentence. Right, that's why I said, what's 5 months in jail? That's nothing. When the state says it's 3 months, 3 years is what is on the table for the said crime. And everybody was in court trying to downplay the felony. Well, it's a low-grade felony. Who cares? He hasn't been in trouble. His brother comparing him to Al Capone. What? Okay. Y'all act like this Al Capone in here. Okay. I wanted to say, you mean John Gotti. Al Capone been dead.
Wow. Yeah, slap on the wrist.
Chris, you right. I was asleep for 5 months. That's all you can do.
Yep, sleep it off.
Look, night. Thank you, Janelle. Night. Okay, your tail to bed. Yeah, somebody said if it was you or I, we'd get more than 5 months. Exactly.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, if it was anybody else that wasn't famous, they probably got at least 2 years in jail, prison.
Yep. Easy.
For orchestrating this type of crime and wasting the taxpayers' money.
Yep.
How long you gonna be able to stay on and speak, ma'am?
Huh?
Are you gonna be able to stay on and speak or no?
Yep.
Okay. Well, let me let me hide myself for just a minute. I got to go get my other device so I can read the other information off. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, you all. We're gonna start the next segment pertaining to we're gonna do the lady in Florida next. We'll do Megan last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's do her. All right, everybody. This is a triple live. First, Jussie Smollett has been found guilty on all said counts. 120 to the city of Chicago, $25,000 in fines, 30 months probation. He's able to roam the earth anywhere he wants to go. 5 months in jail. Low-grade felony, still a felony. Bye, Felicia. It's a wrap. It's over with. Let it go. Thank you, Jesus. Now Chicago can get on with the get on. All right, everybody. I got my next story coming up. This is pertaining to Cynthia Cole down in Florida. There's a story I got to bring you all. We're going to talk about it for just at the end of the live. About a teacher beat up by a 5-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Court TV is the next source. This is pertaining to Cynthia Cole, Caucasian woman found in her own septic tank. An African-American male is the suspect. He's been arrested. He is not cooperating. He knew her. She knew him. He was the handyman. What happened? Why did he kill her? What did she do to him? What did she say to him? Was she trying to date him? He tried to date her. Did he make an advance? She buffed him off. He showed up to her house in an Uber, left. He lied in wait. And he killed her and he buried her in the septic tank. I brought you this story a couple days ago. But the sad part is that we have new information coming out of Florida that perhaps Miss Cynthia was alive when she was buried in the septic tank. Lord have mercy. God, pray for me, sweetie. Here we go, everybody. This is commentary number 2. Thank you for joining me. It's Everyday Shenanigans.
Lisa Steiger places a bouquet in front of a sign she left by her neighbor's garage off Skyline Drive in Jensen Beach.
Because I wanted to show my presence of, how much she meant to us in the neighborhood.
The body of that neighbor, 57-year-old Cynthia Cole, was found by investigators in her septic tank Saturday. She'd been missing since February 24th.
She would have loved the flowers and the butterflies. That's how she was. She was just very earthly, down to earth.
A handyman who did yard work for Cole, 34-year-old Keoki Demich, was arrested and charged with her murder.
By his own admission and by witness testimony and other information we have, he was at the house. And based on cumulative evidence, it does appear that she was probably killed soon after getting home.
The sheriff says although Demich was listed as a sex offender in Washington state from an arrest as a teen, he didn't have that designation in Florida because of a change in the law and had been friendly with the victim for years.
He was not on our radar.
An autopsy is yet to be completed, but Cole suffered a number of trauma injuries.
They had a monster machine digging that hole.
Detectives who had stopped by the home last Friday noticed a sewer pipe in the backyard that had a number of screws loose from the cover. An initial check spotted the body, and that led to the weekend excavation.
It just breaks my heart what happened to her. And it's just disrespectful, and I can't believe that somebody would harm her in the way that they did.
We've got some updates tonight regarding the autopsy results. The cause of death has been determined to be homicide, but there are a lot more questions that need to be answered. Let's bring in our guest joining us tonight in Jacksonville, Alabama, professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University, forensic media analyst, and former senior investigator for the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office. Joseph Scott Morgan is with us. In San Diego, California, retired director of the San Diego Police Department Crime Lab, Jennifer Shen. And joining us tonight by phone in Martin County, Florida, is Sheriff William Snyder from the Martin County's Sheriff's Office. Sheriff, thanks so much for joining us. Great to have you with us tonight. What can you tell us? What's the latest information that we're getting from the medical examiner?
Well, thank you again for having me on your program. Since we spoke earlier this week, the autopsy was completed. Now, there are some results that are still not back, but the medical examiner is ruling unequivocally that Cynthia had sustained numerous blunt trauma injuries. So those would have consisted of blunt trauma to her face and head, her abdomen, and she also showed signs of asphyxiation and strangulation. And I know the question that's has been posed, I think, by you as the show opened, and I'm getting the same question too. Was she alive when she was placed in that septic tank? The medical examiner is cautioning that she can't be absolutely certain, but she cannot rule her out. There does seem to be at least some evidence that she may have still been breathing when she was placed in that septic tank.
Lord.
That is horrific. Absolutely horrific.
Can you imagine that?
Joseph Scott Morgan, let me ask you about that. What are some of the ways to make that determination if Cynthia Cole was still alive when her killer placed her in that septic tank?
Well, the ME will handle this case just from the trauma that has already previously been discussed relative to the head trauma and obviously trauma to the stomach.
Did you hear that?
The blunt force trauma. It'll be handled in a manner that you might not imagine in a case like this, but you're going to look into some of the facets related to drowning. And what we look for is in the airway, is there any evidence of any of the debris that might be associated with this septic tank environment that she had inhalated. If it's in her airway, then it possibly extends into the lungs as well. And since there will be solid waste product in that septic tank, as lungs are carefully examined, not just in a gross manner, which means overall without the assistance of microscopy, you can see debris in the lungs there. But when they go down to microscopic level, they'll be able to see little focal areas of deposits in her lung, and that would give you an indication that she had probably at least inhalated some of these substances in this environment. It's not beyond the pale to have somebody that is, say, rendered unconscious. They still have agonal respirations and this sort of thing, mouths open during this environment. They can't do for themselves, struggling, and they're still attempting to breathe. So it's by virtue of that you inhalate what's in the environment around you.
Sheriff, how long do you believe she was in that septic tank before you and the rest of the investigators were able to find her?
Well, we know exactly. It was right at 6 days. We know.
6 days.
She was out with her friends, came home.
6 days.
By a mountain of evidence now, we've determined that the suspect was there waiting for her. And we know the exact moment we opened the lid and discovered her body. So, yeah, 6 days.
6 days in a septic tank. Jennifer Shen, you're always looking for pieces of evidence in a death investigation, anything to link the victim to the killer. Your thoughts about this type of crime scene? Have you ever dealt with something quite like this, Jen?
No, thankfully I haven't. And kudos to the investigators for finding her. I mean, that's just a product of really careful examination of the crime scene to find clues like that. So what we're always looking for in this kind of scene, like a sort of a body dump scene where her body was dumped into the septic tank, was there anything that was dumped with her that can be connected back to the person that put her there? So did he throw down anything that was his or anything that he had touched or handled? Sometimes it's tools, sometimes it's weapons, sometimes it's a blanket or something that you could analyze forensically and then connect back to the perpetrator. So that is a really important thing in this type of scene, and I'm sure that's what they're doing.
Sheriff, you indicated that you know a lot about this case. Investigators have really put all the pieces together here. You mentioned that you believe he was waiting for Cynthia when she was returning. I think she was in town that night. Do you know exactly where this attack took place?
We're still waiting on some analysis of what we think is blood from the house. We use alternate light sourcing and luminol, which is a way to spray a substance in a dark room, and it'll fluoresce if it hits organic material. We think we have drag marks in there. There was no obvious sign of struggle inside the house. So oftentimes, and your guests have all seen it, when you have a large male, he was 6'2", a strapping young man. She was a diminutive woman at best, a small, thin woman in good shape. It wouldn't have taken much to render her unconscious, and there didn't necessarily have to be a lot of blood in that house. There was evidence that he had worked to clean up something, but 6 days time was not our friend in this case. There was a concentrated cleaning fluids that we used to clean up the floor. We still found evidence. We're waiting. We're pretty sure it's going to be blood. So the answer is it probably happened in the house. It probably was an ambush attack. She did not see what was coming, and she would not have had a chance in that fight.
Jen Shen, I want to go back to you. What would you be looking for inside that home?
Well, evidence of cleanup. People think they can clean up a bloody crime scene and we can't find it. And, luminol is a great tool there. It reacts with the invisible traces of blood at a crime scene and fluoresces in the dark. And so you can see, and not only can you find blood that way, but you can also see patterns that way. So drag marks are a great example. Sometimes we can see void patterns where there's blood all around an area, but there's one space that has no blood in it. And you can kind of recreate the scene if there's enough blood by using tools like that. So we're going to be looking for any sign of him in the house as well. I mean, if he's not a person that's supposed to be in our house, it's a pretty violent act, it sounds like, for him not to have left any clues of any kind. And sometimes amongst all the blood that's at a scene, there'll be one or two drops that belong to the perpetrator. And that always is, that's always very, very important evidence. So you're looking for what happened to her with this, and you're also looking for evidence of him in the scene, whatever that might be.
Joseph Scott Morgan, how would you approach the issue of trying to figure out the source of the blunt force trauma? What was she struck with, and perhaps the strangulation that may have taken place as well? How do you figure all that out?
Well, I can tell you, at least to a marginal degree, there's going to be some compromise of the tissue because septic tank is an aerobic environment, which means that to a certain degree, the process of decomposition will be sped up a bit in this environment because, let's face it, that's kind of the purpose of a septic tank. And so in that, the pathologist will be kind of at a disadvantage, but not too terribly. If there's a head strike, say for instance, and you've got an underlying skull fracture, you can still pick up on patterns. Maybe perhaps if it's a depressed skull fracture, maybe there's a pattern relative to that. And still to a certain degree, you can pick up on patterns on the skin, but you have to be very, very careful in these kinds of circumstances because the body becomes progressively more fragile as you go down this time range that the sheriff has mentioned. We're talking 6 days down range in an aerobic environment where she's already got possibly open injuries already, which is going to promote decomposition to a great degree around those focal areas of insult.
Sheriff, let me ask you, someone who is capable of doing what he's accused of, does that make you think that there may be some other victims out there that either haven't been found or maybe cases that haven't been solved, that maybe you got to take a look at this guy perhaps being involved?
Oh, absolutely. We don't have any unsolved crimes in our county. Of course, we reach out to other agencies. But we also know we have a pretty good handle on his comings and goings. He didn't have his own transportation. We always ask, is there something out there that we don't know? How does a guy go from a single burglary arrest to something like this? We may never know what went on in his mind that night, but right now we're not on to any other crime that he may have committed. Now, I would answer one thing just to help understand that point about the decomposition. We're very used. South Florida cops are very used to badly decomposed bodies. That's what we do. If you leave a body here in a mangrove or salt palmettos anywhere, we'll get rapid animal predation, disarticulated skeletal remains. We're used to it. This was really, for us, this was not that bad. There was a lot of evidence, and your ME there will appreciate this. We actually were still able to get fingerprints. Even after 6 days, yeah. So we had a lot of breaks in this case, and we really feel fortunate that we were able to start the justice process.
Absolutely. Joseph Scott Morgan, they still got fingerprints. That's a great sign.
Yeah, it is. It makes her particularly easily identifiable. I think the only other thing that I could come up with, kind of dovetailing with what the sheriff had said relative to this environment, if there's any trace evidence that may have been on her person that would have been transferred from him to her, for instance, that may very well be compromised in this environment, because this is a very, at just a biological level, this is a very hostile environment. So I don't know, what may be there that they could have recovered, but I'm sure they did a fine job at post on this case.
Absolutely. Sheriff William Snyder down in Martin County, Florida, appreciate your time again tonight. We'll be checking back with you as this case continues to develop. Thanks so much.
Call me anytime.
All right. And Jen Chen, Joseph Scott Morgan staying with us. When we come back, we're going to open up the mic. All right, everybody. That's Court TV. Vinny Palatine. Oh, where do I start? Let me find this fool's name right quick for those that need verification. Oh, for who we're speaking of. One moment, you guys. Golly, this is crazy. And I also want to give you another update. Travis and Gregory McMichael seek acquittal of hate crimes convictions in the Ahmaud Arbery's homicide. Okay, 1 second. Let me find her story. Yikes. So many stories. Can't keep up with all of them. The name of the victim is Cynthia Cole. She was 57 years old, everybody. She was discovered submerged early Saturday in the backyard of her Jensen Beach home in Florida. Police said her handyman of several years, Keoki Hilo Dimich, that's D-E-M-I-C-H, 34 years of age, likely killed the missing mom before disposing of her body in the cesspool. Accusations that enraged her friends and neighbors, WPBF reported. So this is a Caucasian female by the name of Cynthia Cole, 57 years of age, out on the town with some friends having a good time. She returns home, and it is believed that he lied in wait for her, a Mr. Get his name correct, Keoki Hilo Dimich, 34, African-American male from Washington State. He has a old crime as a child, juvenile, for breaking into someone's home and possession of pornography. That is the only criminal record that comes to light. It did not clarify. It did not, that said crime was not conducive for him to be on the Florida's sexual registry. Now with my commentary. Oh, Lordy. Okay. The fact that she may have been alive in the tank means he did not possibly kill her fully. He thought she was dead. So that means he carried a woman alive into the tank. Perhaps she had passed out from strangulation, asphyxiation. I believe the asphyxiation may come from her drowning in the mess, the sewer. Lord help me, Jesus. The motive, why did he kill her? It's the main thing. Why did Keoki, whatever his name is, why did he do it? Why'd you do it? He's not cooperating. Usually happens that way. They don't cooperate. She died of strangulation, blunt force trauma, and as I said, asphyxiation. Perhaps the asphyxiation comes from drowning into the mess in the septic tank. It's a terrible way to go. Beat, strangled, then dying in filth, mess, fecal matter. I can't think. It's too much for me. This is a horrendous crime. This is a very horrendous crime because she knew him. As I said, imagine being beat up, strangled, and to only drown in the sewer, put in there alive. Your perpetrator thought he killed you, but you were not dead. She lied in there 6 days, allegedly. I believe she's 6 days. He waited for her, took an Uber, Lyft to her house. Surveillance of the neighborhood is how he got caught. Drove away in her car, how he got caught. Parked the car near his own home. Who did he live with? Alone, children, married, girlfriend, friend, rented a room, what? No information on that. Bold enough to take an Uber. They can trace that. You paid for it.
So they can trace that you took an Uber. It's going to show on your phone, your app, the person that picked you up. All that's going to be verified. See, he's a fool. He wanted her dead, obviously. Or did he go there to talk to her? She wasn't home. He got mad. What? Or he went there deliberately, knowing she wasn't home. Which is it? He went there deliberately to kill her by Uber. He went there to talk to her by Uber. He went there to talk to her by Uber and realized she wasn't home, got mad. What? Broke in. What? 9 times out of 10, he killed her inside of a house. Blood, I believe, was found. Drag marks. Somebody was in that house. It was him. Tall man, believable so. She was no match for her perpetrator. They're waiting on DNA to come back from the lab. He was 6'2". She was a small woman. They do believe that this woman was ambushed by the said perpetrator. No evidence of a struggle inside of the home. That's where the ambush theory comes into play. Naturally, they've used luminol to see if there was any blood in the house. And I believe there was some blood showing from cleanup. Naturally, when you spray luminol, it will show that there was blood present in the said place or items. Once again, we do believe he was in the house waiting for her. So that means he broke in. So that also means she didn't have a security system. Or did he bypass it some type of way? Because he knew her. You have to be careful of your friends. Did he use a weapon? What weapon did he use? Since there was blunt force trauma, or did he beat her with his own bare hands? Oh, Lordy, Lordy. Main question. Has he committed these crimes beforehand? Are there other victims out there besides Miss Cole? He just hasn't been apprehended. Is his DNA already in CODIS but unidentified? It's a very scary situation. Let me say this to all the women in the chat. You have to be very careful the company you keep. You have to be very careful when you're letting people into your home to do work for you. It doesn't matter if it's the cable guy, the Wi-Fi guy, phone tech, plumbing, electrical, whatever it is. Once you're alone with somebody, there are no bets that something bad could not happen. The assumption is that, well, he's on the clock. He wouldn't risk his job in hurting me. Yeah, he would. If he's crazy and he's sick, yeah, he would. Because if he knows there's nobody in that house, you start running that mouth, talking about the cat, the dog, what you had to do today. You took off from work. Your children live in Idaho. Well, you just now told a perpetrator ain't nobody coming in so he can have a little playtime with you. Do you understand where I'm coming from? This is why you can't talk so much when you're around strangers, especially alone in your own house. Don't let anybody know that nobody's coming in or out. Very bad decision. Don't ever let a stranger that's in your house doing work or even visiting you think that nobody else has access to the house apartment. Yeah, my son comes through every now and again. He'll be over here today. I don't know when he'll come. He just pops up. You must lie to preserve life. Do you understand? You don't owe anybody an explanation. So if you have somebody in your house there to fix the Wi-Fi, the cable, you're alone with them, stay woke. If you have to stand afar, take a picture, anything, do what you have to do. Because you don't know people. The sick part of this story is not just the fact how she was murdered, blunt force trauma, strangled, and dumped in a sewer system and possibly drowned from the sewer. It's the fact that she knew her perpetrator, Miss Cole. She had been knowing him for years. He did handiwork for her, possibly for other people in the neighborhood. Possibly he was recommended to her. They had a friendly courtship, I'm assuming. Who's to say that maybe one day he made a pass at her? She wasn't interested. When was the last time also that they spoke with one another, saw one another, spent time with one another? He did work for her last. See, all those things are going to be pivotal in this coming to an understanding to what the hell happened in that house and what led him to go there in an Uber and lie in wait and kill that lady and dump her in her own damn yard. And what did I tell you about being dumped? Outside of the property is usually somebody that knows you. They don't want to be tied to you. That's why he dumped her in the sewer, because he knew he could be tied to her, see. He could have just, if he killed her in the house, he could have just left her there and kept on going. But he didn't. He buried her in the septic tank. So that lets you know nobody was coming and going to her house, because he took a great chance to go there, be seen going there, breaking and entering, killing her, and then going outside and dragging her body outside to put her in a damn septic tank. He didn't care. You don't know people. Just like the first story, you have a pathological liar, sociopath that was an actor in a TV show. Nobody knew Jussie Smollett. Story number 2, nobody knew the handyman. Nobody knew the handyman. But at 34 years of age, this man has possibly sexually assaulted other women. He's probably taken advantage of other women, possibly not murdered them, but he's a sadist nonetheless. He does have a criminal past as a juvenile that they know of, but no other arrest as an adult. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. This is a terrible story because this is a random woman who trusted someone. And I do not know what happened between the two, if they ever dated, had sex, a fling. I don't know. It doesn't matter. He had no right to kill her. Perhaps he'd been flirting with her. She rebuffed him. He got angry, so he showed up, waited on her. But then we have to ask ourselves, how did he know she'd be gone? Did he know she was going to be gone? Was he hoping she'd be at home? Maybe he got more angry. She's not here. Where could she be? Who knows? That's my second story pertaining to Miss Cynthia Cole. Prayers to her family. I do believe she has a child. My condolences to you. Prayers for justice for this bum who snuffed out a 57-year-old woman who's old enough to be his mother, mind you. It's cruel what he did to her because she suffered. And what's worse is that she possibly was alive inside of that sewer. So she possibly drowned or suffocated from the sewer. There are no words to describe that. Possibly she could be alive today had he just left her in the house. Maybe she could have somehow crawled to the phone, dialed 911. We won't know that now. Story number 3, Megan Boswell. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. I also would chat to welcome during the live. We finally get an answer to this crazy bat who lied to the public about her daughter missing. She knew she was missing because she killed her. Buried her on her family's property. I believe it's her father's property where she buried the baby. Beautiful baby girl. Just a doll baby. Lord have mercy. Trial date set. Tennessee teen mom accused of killing baby. Court TV is the source.
I just want her back. That's all I want. I've been so long without her, and I I know a lot of people are like, oh, why didn't you report it missing earlier? Because my mom threatened me, and I just want her back. That's all I can think about is how much I just want her back.
Those are the tears of Megan Boswell, the teenage mother of a little baby Evelyn, who is no longer with us, just 15 months old. Her remains were found in the family compound in a shed, and nobody reported her missing. It took a long time, a month and a half, for anyone to report her even missing. Now, her mother's locked up. There's several layers to this story. You've got Grandma locked up tonight. Grandpa is the one who called it all in. Seema Iyer spoke with Jamie Satterfield, incredible journalist from Tennessee, who's been covering this story in great detail and has more for us tonight. Take a look.
One thing I want to do is describe when I say a family compound. The Boswells literally had a compound, and what I mean by that is that several family members lived on the property. There are at least 3 houses on the property. There's a big bay garage. There's a couple of outbuildings. And so the entire family lives in this compound, if you will. And so a few days after Evelyn was reported missing, I actually went to the property. It's gated, but the gates were open, and there appeared to be nobody home. So I went up and I looked around the property, and I saw toys. I saw signs that children had been there. I also saw areas that looked like it had been graded over. The Boswells run a paving company. There's lots of equipment there. As I was leaving the property, Tommy Boswell Sr., Evelyn's grandfather, and his son, Tommy Jr., showed up on the property, and they were very upset that I was there. What I now know is that I was very close to the shed where ultimately Evelyn's body was discovered. Tommy Sr. blocked me in with his truck. I was sitting in my car. I was trying to leave the property. He and his son came over. They started yelling that I was trespassing, and they called me a vulture. And I just tried to be really calm. And they indicated they were not going to let me leave. And so I asked Tommy Sr. to call law enforcement and to report me as a trespasser so that law enforcement would respond. He actually did that, and he put it on speakerphone, and the dispatcher said to him, you know who she is. We're not coming out. Just let her go. And he said, I'm not letting her go. You all better send somebody out here. But ultimately, he relented. They took a photograph of my license plate, which was a little odd, but they ultimately allowed me to leave. It was kind of a scary encounter, knowing what I know now. My investigation has shown is that Megan lived in a lot of turmoil, and Evelyn was born into a lot of turmoil. Tommy Sr. and his wife, who would be Megan's mother, Angela, they had a really stormy relationship. In fact, Angela was a teen mom. She had her first child at the age of 16 with Tommy Sr. And there was a lot of domestic violence. There was drug use. So it appears that Megan was, in fact, living at the Boswell compound with her father and Evelyn in the weeks before Evelyn turned up missing. And we know that Angela was sort of back and forth. She would reunite with Tommy Sr., but then they would break up. And at the time that Evelyn went missing, Angela was actually involved with another man at that point. So Megan was kind of running back and forth between wherever her mother might be and then where her father might be. And of course, Evelyn was being dragged back and forth as well. Law enforcement hasn't made clear yet whether Tommy Boswell Sr. is a suspect, whether Tommy Boswell Jr. is a suspect. Both men live on that property. Both men had access to that shed. Of course, a Tennessee Bureau of Investigation agent has testified that Megan made incriminating statements about Evelyn's death, that he did not elaborate. So we really don't know at this point who is responsible for this death and who tried to cover it up. Law enforcement hasn't really said what sent them to that property, but we do know that they interviewed Megan again. They've interviewed her several times. But it was after another interview with Megan that they then secured a search warrant to search the property. The search warrants are under seal. They remain under seal. So we don't know exactly what was said, but whatever was said led them to this compound, and they knew exactly where to go. They could have gotten a search warrant before, at any point before. They declined to do so because they didn't want to go out there digging holes everywhere, right? You know, it's a fruitless kind of thing. So they had specific information, and they went straight to that shed. And, of course, going into the shed, they saw diapers, they saw clothing, they saw toys as if the child had been kept in the shed. And then they found the remains. The latest arrest did involve Angela Boswell, Megan's mother and Evelyn's grandmother. According to the warrants, it would appear that Angela Boswell has a meth problem. And she's accused of breaking into her father's home, stealing guns and other property. The assumption is that that property was going to be sold for drug money. Tommy Boswell Sr. doesn't have much of a criminal history. He is someone who is a laborer, if you will, is a construction guy. He runs a paving company. He owns a lot of property. He has a trailer park where he rents out trailers. He was, however, charged in one incident, and that was an attempted murder. So I say very little criminal history, but the one bit of history he has was big. And what happened in that case, he actually pled guilty. But Angela was, again, that's the way I can say it, was catting around on him. And she had her fellow there in the home. Apparently they were separated. And so Tommy Sr. and Tommy Jr. showed up at the house in the middle of the night and telling the guy to come outside. And of course, he and Angela are naked. Angela stays inside. This fella gets dressed. He comes outside. He's going to try to leave. And they surrounded him and just started beating him. He takes off running. Tommy runs him down with the truck, hits the guy with the truck. The guy goes over the hood of the truck, lands on the ground. They stand around him, Tommy Sr., Tommy Jr., and a third unidentified man, and start kicking him. He eventually gets up, runs to a neighbor, and calls the cops. But after that incident, Tommy Sr. and Angela reunited. And the charges, they weren't dismissed, but he pled to some probationary sentence. So essentially the case went away. So there was violence, but it was specific to this domestic trouble that they've had since they got together when she was 16 years old. I'm very troubled by Megan and whether or not she has mental illness. What was going on in her head in the days before whatever happened to this child happened. When I look at this family's history, it certainly appears that Megan has had a struggle in her life. She's lived in chaos and domestic violence, and she's lived around drug use. She gets pregnant at 16. And the father of the child was not interested in her. And so she had to kind of absorb that. And then shortly before she gave birth, her mother got arrested, and mother was in jail when this child was born. Tommy Sr. drug her back home, Megan. So her life was pretty rough. And certainly no excuse for anything that's happened. But I certainly think that we will see in the coming months the defense attorneys for Megan asking for mental health evaluations. I'm certain that's going to be a part of this case.
All right, everybody. That's the said information. I believe that's investigator speaking. Somebody named Jamie Satterfield or something. This is just, oh Lord, non-stop buffoonery. Court TV is the source. One minute, I'll go ahead and get started. As you hear this lady speaking, it has come to light 2 years or so ago that obviously her family, they are dysfunctional people. She grew up in a dysfunctional household with the mother and father fighting, the mother going back and forth, as you heard, incident with a guy that the mother was seeing, the father and son cornered the guy, beat him up. He took a lesser charge, and then the mother got back with the father. But at the time of the child's disappearance, or when it was filed, I believe that this Megan's father was the one that did the filing. It's still kind of suspicious to me. The mother was with another man, and she was arrested during this time when they were looking for the child. And she and this boyfriend went to North Carolina. All kind of stuff went on. You have to go back to my earlier videos to get the said information pertaining to that. But nonetheless, she comes from troubled people. So perhaps she hasn't learned all the things she needed in life to navigate, because she's not an older person. I think she was just 19 when this happened. So she hadn't learned anything, hadn't seen anything, hadn't been in the world long enough. Well, maybe she is a reporter. I thought she was an investigator. I don't know. They just put her name up there. They didn't specify what her title was. So I stand corrected. If she's a reporter, okay. It's not a big deal. Anyway, the grandfather should have called earlier when he realized he hadn't seen his daughter, seen the granddaughter, the baby. That's where I'm troubled. Because I think, as you've seen, they had a lot of property. He had a lot of property. He had a lot of houses on the property. My understanding is that Megan would go back and forth between his compound and also a boyfriend that she was dating. I'm surprised she didn't mention the boyfriend in his commentary, because I think he played a big role to why the child is dead. I think she wanted to be with this boyfriend. He didn't probably want a kid, and that's why she killed her child. So it's very, very strange. Strange. I believe that's the motive for killing the child. She wanted to be with this guy. Perhaps he didn't want any children. She did implicate the father as having the child. This is how the law enforcement knew that she was a liar, because she kept changing her story. First, it was boyfriend had the baby, or it was the mother that had the baby, and she's over in Mendoza at a trailer or campground. I knew then that she was lying when she went to the news and told that, oh, she's with my mother in Mendoza. That's in Mendoza, Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, at a campground. She was grinning when she spun that lie to the news. So I knew then, I said, what is she smirking about? This isn't funny. Your child is missing and you're sitting here smirking, talking about, I'll go over there myself if don't nobody else go. I knew then that she was guilty. Then the sheriff lets it be known that she was a liar, that every version she gave was a lie. And you rarely have law enforcement do that. Tell you that the person that's spinning the web has changed her version 1,000 times. So I knew then, yeah, she's guilty. Because now we have the sheriff telling us that she's changing her version 1,000 times. As you heard Vinny speak in this commentary about the lies, someone said the lies become a burden. I don't even think I played the right commentary. I think there's two versions of this. Yeah, the one I wanted to play you all is, hold on a second. I didn't play it because I'm reading something that I didn't see in this one. Anyway, I'm going to jump around some of the stuff I wrote. As I said, when she mentioned to the news the baby was in Mendota, I knew that she was lying. The fact that Megan never told anybody the child was missing. When was the last time the father saw her with the baby? Very strange. And due to the fact that they had all these dysfunctional people in the storyline, the mother had a boyfriend, her father, her herself, Megan, you didn't know what to believe and who to believe at first. You really didn't know who all was involved, who all may have had a party to this. Did she leave the child with somebody? They harmed the baby, then hid the baby in the shed. Or had she been at the shed on the property at one time, living, everybody was gone, she killed the baby and then went and put the baby in the shed and then went on about her merry way. Because from my understanding, she was going back and forth, saying from that house to the boyfriend. Because there are pictures posted on, I believe, Instagram of him buying a new house. And she's basically alluding to the fact that it was her house, their house. And I think he owns some type of chicken shack restaurant or something. So maybe, like I said, she wanted freedom. You know, another Susan Smith story. The guy free, fancy free. He doesn't have any children. He's young. You've got this baby. Maybe he didn't want a chick with a baby. So she felt like, let me get rid of this kid and I could be with this guy. Scot-free and clear, no obligations. I think she didn't want to be a parent anymore. That's my assumption. It's that she didn't want to be a parent anymore. And at the time, as they said, the mother, her mother, was with a boyfriend from Pillar to Post, homeless. So I don't think the mother had access to the shed to put the baby in there. Let me make that clear. Because a lot of people couldn't decide on who put the baby in the shed. And the mother, Megan's mother, was not dating the father allegedly at that time when the baby was found. She had another man, a younger guy she had been messing around with. Both of them drug addicts, homeless, Pillar to Post. And as you heard in this commentary from this woman, she robbed her own father. So there's a place she couldn't stay again because she's robbed her daddy. She just was all over the place. So this girl hasn't learned anything about stability, relationships, loyalty, camaraderie, trust, love. She didn't get that. Thank you, Osha. That was my birthday present to myself. Thank you, baby. There was no love. So she probably couldn't bond with her kid. She hadn't been taught anything. She's watched her parents fuss and fight. She also had other siblings. She hadn't learned anything. Wacky parents. Wacky parents. As I said, you really didn't know what to believe. But I believe the holidays were the last time they saw her with the child. That's probably Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken, of 2019. So, therefore, he should have called law enforcement to tell them, hey, I haven't seen my daughter and my granddaughter. Why wait until the next year, going into 2020, to make a report and call DHS about not seeing the child? The fact that she tried to implicate her own mother was very baffling to me. But as I said, the mother wasn't with the father to have access to the property. Very strange. There's some other commentary by Court TV that I want to mention. One of the commentators said, hold on one second, that lies become burdens, and the jury will see right through this. And one other lady, who was an African-American female who was on the program, had made a comment saying, who knows what type of life she's had with her mother and father, that perhaps she's lied for her mother most of her life, so that's all she knows. She's been groomed by her mother to lie, if indeed the mother is the culprit who killed the child. Because there is commentary that Megan had left her child with her mother in a hotel. Let me throw that in there. See, there's a lot to the story. The mother, as I said, lived pillar to post. At one time or more, Megan had left her child in the mother's company, and the mother kept the child. Now, I don't know where Megan stayed at that time, if it was also in the hotel room or with the boyfriend or somewhere else, but that was mentioned 2 years ago. So this lady is saying, depending on the dynamics between she and her mother, perhaps if the mother has done this, she lied for her mother, knowing her mother had the child, because that is one of the lies she spun. It said, oh, my mother has the child. I didn't think to report my kid because I knew who had her. But the thing about it is she kept changing the lie from the mother to other whatever. The police won't tell us all the lies. But that was one. She was with the mother. But naturally, when they find the mother, no baby. So where's the baby if your mother has the child? It's just your mother and her boyfriend. So see, you never knew what to believe. But as this commentator said with Vinnie Politan, lies become burdens. And you have to keep lying because you've built these burden on your back of lying. So you've got to keep lying. And that's exactly what happened in this case. She kept telling one lie after the other. Let me find that story because I see obviously they've uploaded two contents pertaining to Megan Boswell. So let me try to find the other one. Thank you. So I could have sworn there was another one about her. Hold on one second, you guys. Well, I can't find it now for some reason. It's strange. Well, let me see. Let me go back to Court TV and see what I find because I had it here. Thank you for joining me. This is strange. I could have sworn they had another one up here. Or there were other people talking. Let me go to the home page and see if I can see it. I don't know why they're not showing the recent ones. It's strange. Because I just uploaded it. Who's going to bed? Oh, good night, honey. 10:30. It's past her bedtime. All right, guys, let me look again. Because there was some information I played. I don't know if this sounds like the case. Sounds like there was something else. Now I can't find it. This is weird. Because I listened to it. I don't know where it's at. Because he was talking to some other people about her. I was trying to find it. I don't know where it is. It might be mentioned in another video that I played pertaining to the another case. I think it was one video where they had a lot of cases mentioned. I might have played it already, but nonetheless, Megan Boswell, she's a piece of work. I'm gonna put her name in and see if I find something else. Hold on one second. Thank you all for joining me. Anytime, River Queen. They should have something new up here. I don't see anything. Things January. Let me put another thing. Okay, this was from January. I thought there was something new they put in here. It said her next court date is April 7th at 9 a.m. Her trial date is set for September 26, 2022. Megan Boswell, the mother accused of murdering her 15-month-old baby girl, Evelyn, will remain in jail on a $1 million bond. This is uploaded January 21st. But I thought they had put something up recently. So in the fall, allegedly, we will see what happens. But she's not coming out of that jail, that's for sure. Okay, Ocean. Thank you. And then she had asked for a bond reduction back in January, but they denied that, the judge. Yeah. Her judge is James Goodwin. And she had a bond hearing back in January. So far, that's the latest information. I think the latest they've got is a February 17th article. It says the sad saga of missing baby Evelyn Boswell captivated the world and ended in tragedy. It has been 2 long years since a Tennessee toddler named Evelyn Boswell was reported missing by her grandfather, who told authorities he had not seen the child for months and feared for her safety. On February 19, 2020, an Amber Alert was issued for the 15-month-old with big blue eyes and blonde hair that was frequently pulled back with a bow. But it was already too late. Days later, her tiny body was found hidden in her grandfather's shed. Yeah, I thought it was his house. Accompanied by her toys, clothing, and diapers. Megan Boswell, who was only 17 when she gave birth, had been charged with murdering her daughter. Her trial was yet to begin and postponed by the COVID-19 pandemic and a backlog court system. Here is what is known about Evelyn's horrifying, heart-wrenching descent from a toddler seen smiling and taking her first steps in photos and video into a hell of unknowns about her whereabouts and how she died. This started February 23rd, 2020 update. We have a new photo of Evelyn Boswell to pass along. If you have any information, 1-800-TBI-FIND. Agents and detectives continue to work around the clock in the effort to find her. The number of tips received in connection to the search for Evelyn stands at 375. Now, mind you, this was 2 years ago when this happened, and it shows a picture of the baby in a little blue t-shirt in the said photograph. They also have more videos of her that was on Twitter uploaded. This is a very, very sick story. From the beginning, local and state law enforcement officers said they were frustrated by Megan Boswell, who they said spun a cat's cradle of conflicting stories that left them chasing dead ends and wasting valuable time. Every time we talk to her, her story changes. Every single time, said Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy at a February 2020 press conference announcing that Megan Boswell had been arrested for allegedly lying to authorities 1 week after the child was reported missing. Her false statements have delayed and impeded law enforcement's investigation, he said. During the investigation, authorities said Megan falsely told detectives that Evelyn was with her biological father. Police said she also said Evelyn was with her grandmother, who had run off with the toddler. In local television interviews, she said she knew who had Evelyn, but was afraid to say who it was. None of those conflicting accounts were true, the sheriff later said. The reason I didn't report it or anything was I knew the person who had her, and I didn't want them to run away with her. Boswell told a local station 2 days after Evelyn was reported missing. I'm just kind of worried, about where they are at, what they're doing with her at this point in time. It was Evelyn's grandfather who contacted the State Department of Children's Services on February 18, 2020, saying he had not laid eyes on the baby since Thanksgiving. Investigators would later learn a babysitter appeared to be the last person who saw Evelyn, and that was in early December. Tommy Boswell Sr. told a local station, I don't know what happened, but I'm the one who called DCS and got this started, he said. I ain't slept nights. I cried like a baby. I just want my grandbaby to come home. No one else had been arrested or charged in connection with Evelyn's death. Megan had sole custody of the child, and she and Megan's father never married. The search for Evelyn would cross state lines, encompass several properties and a pond. More than 700 tips poured into a Tennessee Bureau of Investigation hotline, so many that the state officials finally asked for people to stop reporting visions, psychic readings, and personal theories about Evelyn's location because they were overwhelming investigators and telephone operators. Of course. On March 6, 2 weeks and 2 days after the Amber Alert was issued, investigators found Evelyn's remains on property owned by Tommy Boswell. Megan and other members of the Boswell family had lived on the rural acreage at varying points in time. Because of the intense attention surrounding Evelyn's case, a judge ordered all court documents sealed. How Evelyn died and how she came to be hidden in the shed have never been publicly revealed. On August 19, 2020, Megan was charged with 2 counts of felony murder. She also was charged with 1 count each of aggravated child abuse, aggravated child neglect, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse, and failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances, as well as 12 counts of making false reports to investigators. She has pleaded not guilty to all 19 counts and remains jailed in lieu of a $1 million bail. Her relatives no longer give media interviews. Her lawyer, Brad Sproles, has said little outside of court, except that his client is doing fine and that he expects to win a change of venue for her trial because of extensive pre-trial publicity. I've said all along that she's a bright young lady, Sproles said in September at a hearing to schedule his client's trial date. She's able to converse very intelligently with me about the case and evaluate the issues. I'm surprised at how well she has held up. I probably would not have been in as good a shape as she is. Sproles did not respond to a request for comment from Inside Edition Digital. Well, the reason why she held up because she's a pathological liar, she's a sociopath. So that's why she can hold up well. I can't believe he just said that. That's crazy. But there are thousands of photos and documents connected with the case, according to court proceedings. Prosecutors have said they've turned over 87,000 images, 57 hours of video footage, 18 hours of audio footage, 28,000 text messages, and more than 24,000 pages of social media to the defense. The trial judge is expected to rule in April on the defense's motion for a change of venue. Megan Boswell's murder trial is scheduled to begin on September 26th, nearly 3 years since Evelyn's grandfather says he last saw the little girl. Had she lived, Evelyn Mae Boswell would have turned 4 on November 21st. So that's the past November, I'm assuming. Let me see the date of this article. Hold on. This year. Okay, this is this year. This was uploaded. This was uploaded February 17th. So here they said she would have turned 4. Okay. Wow. Yes, had she lived, Evelyn Mae Boswell would have turned 4 on November 21st. That's the said information pertaining to Megan Boswell. Just a very riveting story, very sick. But as this sheriff says, lie after lie after lie. She kept changing her story. But what I think is interesting is when we think of the case next door, which is Hawkins County, a child is missing. I do believe the parents have lied in this case pertaining to Summer Wells. I think the same should have happened as in the Megan Boswell case. They put her in jail on lying. They could prove that she lied, so they arrested her. And then later that year came murder charges, which were in August of 2020. I do believe that should have happened in the case of Summer Wells. I do believe they have evidence by now to show that the parents have lied pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells, and you should have arrested at least the mother, since she is the one that spun the story of June 15th, 21. That's why I never could understand why she or he were never in jail, because I don't believe they've told the truth to law officials. So why didn't you arrest them? But as you see, different sheriffs, different rules. Sullivan County saw the lies, saw through the lies, and arrested Megan Boswell for the death of Evelyn. Now, here's one question. With all the stuff that was in the shed, diapers, personal items belonging to the child, when was the last time that somebody had went in the shed that wasn't Megan Boswell? Because if you saw all that stuff in there, the brother, the father, whomever, wouldn't you have tried to call her, question her, to ask her why all that stuff was in the shed? Why isn't this stuff in the house? If indeed she was staying in the house, then why would you have Pampers and diapers in a shed? What, overflow? The child had so many diapers and toys that you needed to store the rest in a shed? See, you always have to ask the pertinent questions. Who had access to the shed? Who was last in the shed? Was there a lock on the shed, or was it unlocked? Because if it was locked, then that means somebody had a key to get in. Did that somebody give the key to other people? Stay woke. This was the father's property, Megan's father, the grandfather to the baby. So I'm wanting to know that. I've always questioned that. Who had access to the shed? Who was last in the shed? And was there a lock on the shed? Because if the father is the owner of the shed, which 9 times out of 10, he is the owner of the shed because it's his property, then that means he had to have known the baby was in there dead 9 times out of 10. So that's another question. How many people knew the child was dead and in the shed? Because how would you not know what's going on your property, in your shed, your attic, your basement? And what else is stored in the shed? That will also go to show cause of people going in and out of the shed, getting other things out of the shed. Stay woke. And also, a dead baby would smell. Come on with it, Queen. Did somebody go in the shed and found the baby dead already and then called DHS to say the baby's missing, and you just let the baby lie in there? See, you don't know what you're dealing with right here. Because like I told you, her family, they're troubled, chaotic. So who's to say they already knew the baby was dead? And they just let the baby stay in there. And they felt like, we're not going to do or say nothing. We're just going to go ahead and report it to DHS. And we'll let them find the baby in the shed. Now, somebody would say, damn, Angela, that's kind of cruel. If he really cared about his granddaughter, if he did find the baby, why wouldn't he call 911 to say, hey, I've been looking for my daughter and grandbaby, and I just happened to go in the shed and found her stuff in here and a dead baby. Well, maybe he wouldn't want to implicate himself. Stay woke. We're not going to know until trial. But as you see, what I just mentioned to you was a lot of information, of video surveillance, text messages. And I had remember hearing that last year, that they had accumulated a lot of evidentiary material in this case against Megan Boswell. So possibly she had been running her mouth and talking to said persons about her feelings about being a mother, her daughter. Hell, may have even implicated herself in the death of her child. We won't know until they have trial. So I look forward to that trial starting in the fall of 2022. Hopefully I'll be alive and well to see justice for baby Evelyn. She was a beautiful child. And I just couldn't understand how this woman could be this cruel to kill her child. She, father, brother, whomever's involved. But I do believe Megan is the culprit. And I got a feeling they may have knowledge, the father at least, of the child being in the shed and or some suspicious behavior on parts of the mother. Well, that's all I have. This was a triple lie pertaining to Jussie Smollett. He was sentenced to 150 days in jail, $120,000 restitution to the city of Chicago, $25,000 fines, probation. He doesn't have to stay in the state of Illinois. He can roam freely. 5 counts, found guilty on all counts. Lower grade for felony. And that's the set information pertaining to Jussie Smollett. And also Miss Cynthia Cole, 57 years old, found dead in a septic tank last Saturday. It was on her own property. A man that she knew as a handyman, African-American male, killed her and put her in that tank. And the information I brought today is that perhaps through an autopsy that has been conducted, that she was possibly alive at the time of being submerged in the sewer system. And this is very disturbing news, because perhaps had she been left allegedly dead in her home, maybe she could have called 911, came to, and dialed for ambulance services. But we will never know that now, because she was dumped into the sewer system on her property. Very sick and deranged information. The suspect is not cooperating, which means he's not talking. But I am praying for the information to come forward. There has been, information found on the property, inside of the house, drag marks, bleed blood, cleanup situation. So naturally they use luminol to spray the rooms. And I believe something has come back to show that there was a cleanup on the property. They do not believe that there was a struggle of any kind, because he was a big guy, 6'2". She was a small woman. So they believe he lied in wait and ambushed her inside her property. And he also took an Uber Lyft to the said house. And I'm assuming he broke in her house while she was out on the town with her said friends. This is a very disturbing case. And as I've said to the ladies in the chat, please be mindful of your situation, your surroundings, where you live, the company you keep, the people you meet, inviting people back to your home, going to other people's home, and know that even you talk to someone, you think you know them, you're friendly, they may not have your best interests at heart, because perhaps they had words, he made a pass, she rebuffed him, and then he returned and killed her. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $Big Angie 129 Cash App. When I get more information pertaining to all these updates, I will bring them to you. But as for now, Jussie Smollett is in the county jail in Chicago. Megan Boswell, she's still in jail on a $1 million bond in the murder of her child. And also, Miss Cynthia Cole is believed to have been put into the septic tank alive and possibly asphyxiated on the sewer matter when put inside. And she also was, unfortunately, strangled and blunt force trauma. Very sad situation, very sickening. And my prayers are with her family and friends. And I believe she does have a child, possibly an adult child. So prayers to the family and friends. Just be careful and be mindful of the company you keep, because anyone could be a Cynthia Cole. Myself, any woman, female, because you don't know people. And you don't know the day that people will turn on you. And most of the stories that you hear on the news are of people being accosted by people that they knew. Most stories you hear are not about strangers hurting strangers. It is a lover, a friend, an ex-wife, ex-husband, new lover, new boyfriend, new girlfriend, relative, neighbor, co-worker. Thank you. Thank you so much, Uda. Thank you all so much. You don't know people. And you've seen the stories. Children, preteen, grown-ups, college students, neighbors, friends. Oh, I thought he was my friend. I thought she was my friend. And then you find out there was underlying hatred, animosity. Something was boiling. And eventually it came out. You don't know people. You hear the story all the time. You don't know people. Thank you for joining me. You all be safe. Have a happy weekend. God is good. Thank you, Judge, for rendering the verdict, the sentencing, for Jussie Smollett. He deserves all 150 days and more. He should have gotten 3 years, but the judge was kind to him. Thank you so much for joining me. You all have a wonderful evening. The Queen's got to get out here. I got to get some rest. Thank you so much. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you.